Hi, my name is Philip Resch, and I am President and CEO of Valor Financial Specialists. And I'm here today to talk to you about two different ways that you can go to distribution. We're going to talk first about distribution as well as compensation and how these two different ways seem to go to market. Ultimately, the most important part for you as a financial professional in the life insurance and annuity space is to figure out which way works best for you. If you need any help, feel free to call me up anytime. As when I show you this, I've worked in the financial services industry now for 17 years, and I've worked with all different distribution types. Last served before I created Valor Financial Specialists was a regional vice president with AIG. And so when we look at the insurance industry, it always starts at the insurance company. Now, the insurance company will pay their employees, not really employees, but agents of the field, compensation, but there's different ways that they go about doing that. When we first look at the different types of distribution, we want to look at two ways that the insurance company will wholesale or move their product. First one is called an MGA, which stands for Master General Agency. And then on the other side is an IMO, or an Independent Marketing Organization. So let's dive a little bit into these. Now, the Independent Marketing Organization we'll tackle second because there's a lot more to it. The Master General Agency gets their contracts direct from the insurance company. Now, it's a combination between what used to be a career force. For example's sake, AIG did have a career force, and they would sell one product. A lot of them moved out into the field, created master general agencies where they have, let's say, about 4 to 5 carriers. And there's a unique set of carriers that focus more on this MGA side because they want to personalize the business. These carriers are closer to the direct agents, and it's kind of like a career model, just with a multi-carrier piece to it as well. So when you think about that, it is a little bit of a limited scope. You only have 4 to 5 carriers, but a lot of times those carriers fit a majority of the people you're selling to. And so the employees, I shouldn't say employees, but the agents inside this MGA are usually loyal to the agency because they have a closer relationship to the insurance company. Now, it's up to the master general agency to abide by the contracts that they got, and so they have premium tolerances that they have to hit to give them top compensation numbers. And that's going to be important because when we look at the Independent Marketing Organization, or IMO, you can think of popular IMOs like Crump, IDA, Libra, and Integrity, to name a few. What these companies do is they go out to they give their contracts out to BGAs or MLMs or FMOs, however you want to call them. And they gather a bunch of these and pool the numbers together to meet that premium commitment the insurance company needs to give them top contracts. And if they get top contracts, then they can lure more BGAs or more IMOs, FMOs, MLMs, whatever you want to call it, into their organization. And so when you think of BGAs, for example's sake, the one we align with is called 3Mark Financial out of Texas. MLMs, some popular ones, World Financial Group, PHP, Family First Life, HGI, FEG, to name a few. When you look at the differences here, one of the value propositions for the BGA side is they like to tout, let's say, 60 plus carriers. Their focus is more of a brokerage mentality. They have all the carriers needed to provide a better value for their consumer. Now you can do this in a various amount of ways. You can build an agency, or you can do it solo. It's up to you as the agent how you want to do this, but the main thing or the main focus is on sales. Now on this side with the MLM or FMO space, it's more focused on recruiting. And the more you recruit, the more you move up the scale. This is more of a agency type model where you're all in it together, and they usually tout about 2 to 10 carriers depending on the MLM. Some will say they have more, but they usually don't tap into them, so they usually focus on 2, maybe 3, because you have a mass amount of recruiting going on, so you can't focus on a ton of carriers. Once again, nothing wrong with each of these ways, it just depends on what makes sense to you. Now, if we move forward, as we see the hierarchy and structure, then we talk about compensation. What you'll find is the MGA and the BGA typically run a similar line. And how is that? They pay compensation direct. So if I sold a case with, let's say, Lincoln or AIG or Prudential, I'm going to get a paycheck directly from Lincoln, AIG, Prudential on this side of the fence. Now, what does that mean? It means I own my book of business. So if I want to sell it later, I can do so. Now, on the flip side, or I'll say this as well, typically on this side of the fence, you usually have higher individual comps, and I'll explain why in a second. If we look at this side of the fence, the MLM, FMO, they usually have indirect compensation. What does that mean? It means the insurance company will pay the agency. The agency will then figure out a calculation based on where their agent is in the scale or on the generational overrides, and then provide them with a compensation. What that means is they do not own their book of business. So if they want to sell their book of business, it actually belongs to the FMO or MLM. And they typically also have lower comps because you usually have about 6 or 7 generations above you feeding off of your sales. But in this, once again, doesn't mean this is wrong, doesn't mean this is right, it just depends on what you're looking to do. This is more of a, as I mentioned up here, a solo opportunity. You can do it as an individual agent, or you have the ability, like I did, to create an agency and provide that hierarchy build structure. Over here, it's treated more like a family, where you have people doing it together. There's camaraderie, there's events, there's all this other stuff to excite and make it a bigger deal. But in the grand scheme of things, I've said it before, I'll say it again, with these different ways to go to distribution or go to market, the most important thing is you find the right one that's meant for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, you could call me, you can send a carrier pigeon for all I care. I'm just here to support and help you in your journey any way that you can, because the most important thing at the end of the day is taking care of your clients and taking care of this country, because there are too many people who have no insurance at all, and we need to do a better job. So once again, thank you for your time. My name is Phil Resch, President and CEO of Valor Financial Specialists. Have a good day.